trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and feeling like it didn't matter how hard I tried. I wasn't making a difference. Is it burnout or is it depression?
Where I see myself preventing myself from burning out with this is...
Hello and welcome to the Two Brothers Podcast, the podcast for anyone looking to lead better. With your hosts, Joe.
Telling the truth is the least manipulative form of manipulation. Everybody manipulates. If you analyze every situation that you got upset about, and you look at the things that triggered that anger, and you actually said what got you angry out loud, you would think you were the most ridiculous, childish person all the time.
And Ryan.
Some people can be bullshitted, but then others can't be. And others go out of their way to try to trip you up and see how you handle it.
Yeah.
And if you handle it properly, that's a sale you're going to make. It's a relationship you're going to gain or build or whatever it might be. A team member is going to look at you more respectfully now because of how you handle the situation, if you handle it properly.
On to the episode.
Hey Ryan, how's it going?
Yeah, going all right, Joe. How about you?
Good. We're recording together again.
Yeah,
this is
in my studio, quote unquote.
Yeah, it's looking
studio,
nice.
Gym. Yeah,
Office.
Shipping center. It's multi-purpose room.
Yeah, it's nice. It's coming together.
Kind of. Not doing too much more with it for now. Hope once kids move and there's a little more space, I got some more plans, but for now, this will do.
Nothing wrong with that.
No. So what are we here to talk about this week, Joe? This topic was something you brought up.
We recorded last week's episode, and it was kind of last minute. We got through recording the episode. It was late Sunday night, and we talked a little.
Sunday.
It was late. We talked a little bit afterwards, and you'd asked me some questions about like where I was at and what I was thinking with certain things, and I tossed and turned quite a bit that night. And I think it hit me that I got a lot on my plate. And kind of toyed around with it for a little bit and wanted to talk to you about a couple things and get your thoughts on burnout.
Okay.
Because I'm not burned out, but I feel it. I'm getting there. I have a lot on my plate. I've had a lot on my plate. And even though some things slow down, I always tend to pick up other places, and I'm always going.
Right.
So I wanted to, talk to you about kind of burnout, what you might have seen or what you've been through, how you manage it, and kind of, just toss some ideas around with that.
Okay.
Because I think that's an important thing that everybody experiences at some point in time or another. So,
yeah, and I think it can be disguised. I've got a few notes on a couple different ideas, thoughts I had on how burnout kind of manifests itself. But anyways.
So I just have a couple questions that I've written down. And the first one is, have you ever experienced burnout?
Yes. First thought that came to mind was towards the end of running the business when I owned the company. I was working well over 100 hours week after week. I think it was running on about 3 months. And I wasn't necessarily physically burnt out, but I was burning out my relationships, if that makes any sense. that was when I was with Tiff,
Yeah.
and I had given myself the timeline of this is going to work in this many years or it's not. And if it doesn't get any better, I have to rethink things. And it had reached that point, and I'm working more than I ever had. And she's like, okay, what is going on here? You said this wasn't going to be the case. We need to make a decision.
Right.
And then I was working and working and working and working. And so I was reaching a point of burning out that relationship. And if I kept going, I would have burnt myself out.
Yeah.
And that relationship, more than likely burning out, would have affected my burnout. Probably would have accelerated my burnout.
Oh, yeah.
Because then I would have been completely emotionally drained as well.
And what else do you have time to sink anything into other than your work then?
Right.
So you're just going to double down on what you were already doing.
Right.
It's all because of where your priorities lied at that time.
Yep. So I guess not necessarily, like I said, physically burnt out, but I was burning out a relationship in my life by pushing myself as much as I was.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong. You were at that point, there was all that work, all those hours with very little pay.
Yeah.
Running the business. Little to no pay.
Took a salary of $300 a week, and yeah, we got a little bit more here and there. But $300 a week is what we took home for the entirety of 5 years.
That alone, putting in all that time for that little payout, that's $300, or that's $3 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Running your own business.
But
it's running your own business.
you
That's part of
remember,
it.
well, you remember what we had built it into.
Yes.
From next to nothing, and the equipment we had, and we were set up ready to go. We just struggled to find good, consistent help, and then when we would get help, they would fuck it up, so we'd have to spend all night fixing it to get it out the door in the morning. So yeah, it ended up not being worth it.
So towards the end of that is when you started experience or feeling burnout.
Yes.
Do you feel like you ever hit a point where you completely burned out, you completely drained, you couldn't do anything? Or did you just recognize that you guys had a talk? You were able to
that was I didn't reach full burnout. I was able to fix it there.
Yeah.
The other time I would say I know I burned myself out was at the end of my last job. I ended up being depressed. I didn't even want to get up in the mornings. I was last minute to get to my job because I couldn't get up on time to get up myself ready to get out the door. Everything was half-assed. I was angry all the time, angry at home. I started losing my motivation to even work out. I didn't care to do anything anymore. I was kind of reaching depression, or I was depressed.
Yeah.
And that's what pushed me into burnout, or that's actually one of the questions I have written down. Is it burnout or is it depression? Because the symptoms are similar. And I thought about that when I was thinking about the end of my last job, and like, man, I was super depressed, but I was burnt out of trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and feeling like it didn't matter how hard I tried. I wasn't making a difference.
You're on a sinking ship.
Exactly. So I was burnt out of that, but I was extremely depressed. The burned out pushed me to depression, but is it one and the same?
I think burnout leads to depression, and then it just compounds on itself. because burnout's caused by
Okay.
too much work and not an end in sight, or it seems hopeless. Not an end in sight is probably,
Yeah, I was gonna
a
say
better
hope.
way to
I
put
like
it.
the way you put that. Seems hopeless.
but if you're, like I said, you're on a sinking ship. So from that perspective, if you have a leak in a boat and it's coming in more than you can bail that water out, you are going down.
Right.
But if you know there's no chance to survive it, there's no chance to bail yourself out, that's when depression hits, or when you feel like there's no other way.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it's time to start recognizing those signs and start implementing something.
So burnout causes depression.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's where I think I've been at that several times with with how much I put on my plate over the years, but I never recognized it as depression until I finally worked through that in my divorce.
Yeah.
Was shit, I've been depressed for a long time.
Yep.
And that was holy hell.
Yep.
Like if I would have just worked out of that, I probably would have been okay. But god damn, I was just depressed as hell.
That's kind of the revelation I had after I got out of there, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I was so unhappy. No, I got right up for work. I still do. Get right up for work early. I'm able to get up early and do all my crap in the mornings before I got to go in because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Not
and
getting burnt out.
I guess that leads into or starts to cover my next question for you, which was, what are the signs? What are the signs of burnout? Exactly what you just said. Depression.
Yeah, depression. I was irritable. I was just, like I said, I was kind of angry all the time.
More so than usual?
Yes.
Fuck.
Ornery, grumpy. Depression. I didn't want to get up in the mornings. I dreaded getting up in the mornings to go to my job. Yeah, being unmotivated. I mentioned I didn't feel like working out. I enjoy working out. So once I started not enjoying it, it felt like a chore. Something was wrong. But I didn't realize it right away.
And then once you start letting one thing slip, then you let another thing slip. And like, well, I'm already not doing that,
Which
so I might as well start doing this.
Further pushes the depression.
Not exercising. So what's another bag of chips? What's another?
Or it just then you don't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You just grab, and there is no thinking anymore because your will is gone.
You've already justified it.
Yeah,
Your
exactly.
willpower's gone. Exactly.
Yeah, being negative. Angry, negative all the time.
Pessimistic.
Mm-hmm. Cynical.
Sounds like the signs of burnout are depression.
That's what I'm.
It's 100% depression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was hard to distinguish the two when thinking about them, but I do think I guess there's different types of burnout.
Yeah.
And so depending on the kind of burnout, it manifests itself differently. Like I said, in the first one, it was my relationship was getting burned out.
Mm-hmm.
So those symptoms were different. Well, not really. Tiff was irritable, ornery, whatever you want to call it, about the whole situation and wanting an answer and what are we doing? What's going on?
Well, that sounds like, I mean, even physical burnout would be the same. You're irritable. But the nice thing about physical is chances are you just get some rest.
Yeah, take care of yourself for a change because
Mhm.
you've probably been neglecting yourself.
Yeah. take a rest if you're overdoing it, or start taking care of yourself. Exercise. Do something that makes you work, makes you actually do something. It'll probably be good for you.
Look at your diet. Diet. Diet is very interesting. All the things it can do.
I'm not a doctor or a scientist by any means, but pretty sure the healthier you eat, the less chances you have of hormonal imbalances and everything like that.
Yeah, the less processed shit you eat, the better off you're going to be and be probably, yeah.
You'll think clearer.
Possibly less overweight, yeah, more active, more motivated, think clear, yes. There's all kinds of
Health benefits to that.
Yeah, exactly.
So my next question then is, what have you done to avoid burnout? Or recover from it?
I guess the most recent example I can use is my last job and quitting and starting here. So that was the first step, was getting out of my miserable experience. I had to get away from that job that was causing me to be unhappy. Finding something that can make me happy. You got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of your mental health. You've got to take care of your physical health. Be conscious of all of those different factors in taking care of you. There is more conversation about mental health nowadays. There's people that take advantage of certain things, and there are good aspects to the mental health, and there are bad aspects to the mental health. But the fact that we are talking about some of these issues more is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the word? The need to take care of yourself is always there. We talk about our workouts. We're pretty consistent about getting a workout in 3 to 4, if not more times per week.
Mm-hmm.
I have been very good about, I don't know if I've missed too many mornings in the last 3-4 months of riding my bike every single morning. And I have not missed a cold shower in almost a year now. And those are ways, the bike, it's something don't necessarily want to do. So it challenged my mind. I am improving my cardio, and that's a goal I have. I want to have better cardio. Need to improve that. Just getting older and everything else. Need to work on my cardio.
Years of abuse to your heart and organs.
Yep. And then more lately, I've been trying to just push myself. I feel like I'm pushing myself, or I felt like I was pushing myself because I was sweating and breathing heavy, but was I really pushing myself? So now I'm thinking about that and trying to push myself at least 1% harder, if not more, every single day, and just see what I can do. So that's physically challenging myself and mentally challenging myself. And this is every single day I'm doing these things and thinking about these things, which just continues to reinforce this kind of strong body, strong mind mentality that you need to have to avoid that burnout. Because if you're conscious of yourself, you will be aware of when you need that rest.
You recognize it and start to course correct.
Exactly, like you mentioned. Sometimes you just need that rest, and if you are aware of yourself, you are able to do that. Yeah, and the oh, and I'm also watching documentaries. I don't watch any bullshit in the mornings. I can't get myself to listen to audiobooks yet. I'm probably going to try, just so I'm not watching something, because that is a distraction and I'm not challenging myself as much as I could be. I don't know that I can do it without anything. I need something, but if I can get it down to maybe just audio and get myself that much less distracted and more in tune with everything, just one more way to challenge myself and again be paying attention to not only myself but everything. Like there's a lot going on around you. It's nice to pay attention and slow things down.
Yeah, be present in the moment.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Cold showers. Again, that's just listen to Huberman, Wim Hof. There's all kinds of information out there now about ice baths and the benefits and all that. So you can easily type it into internet and find something. But challenges your mind, helps your body, helps with recovery. Another way to recover and help keep from avoiding that burnout is, take that cold shower. Helps your body recover. Cold, like athletes, all kinds of people use cold plunges, cold baths, ice baths for recovery and injuries and all that. So we work out, take vacations. I think that's an important one.
Just give yourself a break.
Yeah. From everything. From everything. Emails, phone calls. Hopefully your kids, if you can. Get somebody to watch them that you trust. So they're good. You don't have to worry about anything. Be able to turn that phone off. Holy crap, is that refreshing.
That's something I need to get better at. So I'm always doing something. Once I get one thing done, I move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
I very rarely even just give myself an evening to just sit and just relax. I don't I don't relax like that. It drives me fucking nuts.
See, and I don't have an issue not paying attention to my phone.
Oh, I don't have an issue with my phone. It's not having something to do. Like always, like don't take vacations very often. Try to. Like last year I went on my motorcycle trip. That was awesome. I needed that. I could afford to do more of those. And I'm hopefully this year going to be planning on doing more camping and things like that with my kids and getting out and away from the house. Because the more I stay in the places that I do work, which tends to be everywhere, there's something going on, the more I feel pressured to do that work. So extracting myself from the place that there's work to do prevents me from feeling pressured to do that work.
Mm-hmm. I know exactly what you mean. I was able to detach from all of this when I went to the UP just a couple weeks ago. I had things I had to take care of, and I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
But that was pretty much the only time I really dealt with it or thought about it. Otherwise, it wasn't there. But if I'm home, it's always in the back of my mind that, I've got this, and 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 I got to do this, and what about this? And nonstop. But not up there. Even with projects around the house, same thing. Not just this. There's plenty of other things that pop up when I'm here, where I don't when I was gone. Don't think about a thing.
How do you think people working from home has affected the ability for people to detach from work that needs to be done or work at home?
I think it depends on how it is handled. Like Tiff has been at home for 3-4 years now,
Couple years.
full time, and for a while she had her office in the living room, but we had some space open up. My oldest moved out, and she moved her office into there, and she said, "Oh, I finally feel like I can breathe. At the end of the day, I can walk out, shut the door, and my work is over." Because otherwise she would walk out in the living room and feel like, oh, God, I'm still at work. She wasn't, but it just gave her that same type of feeling just being around her work all the time. So I do think it makes it a lot more difficult to be able to separate yourself if you don't have that dedicated space that is hopefully separate from the rest of your life.
I think some people are good at just shutting it off and like, yep, work's done. I'm done. I don't care. Some people I believe are good at that.
Yeah,
But I'm
sure.
I know I'm not. If it's there, I'm like, oh, I could be doing something. What can I do? I could get that done. I could work on this. I could do this. So it's hard to separate from that.
Yeah, and in some aspect, like Tiff's was a little bit different than yours, but yeah, there's still that some kind of draw there. The only other thing I kind of had thought of is to avoid burnout is to make sure you set boundaries. Learn to say no. Sometimes you have to tell people no. We've talked about it in the past with setting goals. If it's not within helping you reach those goals, sometimes it's best to say no. Other times it's just, are you overdoing yourself? Are you giving too much of yourself and not leaving enough of that time to take care of yourself? So you have to keep that in mind.
It's funny that you bring that up because I have it written down a couple in my notes here. I need to learn to say no more often because I take on projects or take on tasks, take on more work. It's like, yep, I can do that. Yep, that's got to get done. Yep, I need to do that. Oh, I'm almost done with this. It'll be done anyway, so I might as well get a start on that while I'm already in the process of this. Like, for instance, my gym, I spent the last 3 months working on building a gym in my garage, framing it, mudding it, sanding it, painting it, everything. Thrilled with how it turned out. But we also had a studio that I threw together so we could start recording that never got finished because it got too good enough for us to do this and start, and then kind of got pushed off to the wayside. Well, I already have all the stuff for drywall out, and I'm already mudding, and I'm already in the process of that. So while I'm finishing up the gym, I might as well mud the other room while in the process of it. And it's just one thing after another. So then I finish one thing, don't even finish it, but I still start my other projects, and now I'm just compounding on top of that. And it's just a never-ending cycle. So I should have said, nope, that's going to wait. Let me finish one thing all the way through. Nope, it's going to wait, and that'll be okay. And I need to get better at doing that. No, not right now.
Now, that probably would have been okay had you not had other things probably also going on.
Yeah. I mean, I have...
Because to your point, that is more efficient.
Yeah.
But when you also have this and this and this and kids and this and that and whatever else, then it can be too much.
I balance a full-time job, kids 50% of the time. I have 50-50 custody. So I have my kids 2 days of the week, every week, and then every other weekend. So 1 week it'll be 2 days, 1 week it'll be 5 days. I have the podcast that we record. I do the editing and producing for that, get all that done. I also have a side job that I do every single week. that I do work for them, and I have time that I spend with other people. So my plate is overfilled all the fucking time. My kids always want me to do things with them or let them
Top
stay
of
up
what
late.
projects are you wrapping up or have wrapped up recently?
Oh man, I built an entire gym. I'm finishing the studio. I just started doing a shower wall that went from a 3-hour project into a 3-day project. Anything that my kids come up with. So we just painted my kid's bedroom wall in his room and reorganized their rooms, and they're pushing for more, and I had to start telling them no because they want. It's real easy as a kid to want,
Right.
and see all this time, but time has to be allotted to different things.
And these were just your winter projects. I know last summer you also had to paint your entire fence like 14 coats.
Yeah, and this year I got to finish my
So-
neighbor's side of it because he already came and gave me cash and asked for help to finish the rest of it. So I got to do that yet and finish another coat on my fence.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work, and I take on a lot. I do a lot.
You know, the work on your bike. See, you enjoy that, but it can feel overwhelming when you're burnt out with other shit.
And I think part of that is I get the dopamine hit of, hey, I got another project. Look at all this little stuff. So sometimes I need to take a step away from the big projects that it's hard to see long-term progress on, because it feels good to just get that little hit of dopamine. Like, look at that I just did. Look at this that I just did. Like, I swapped out parts on my bike in the middle of all of this stuff and upgraded others, worked on new audio equipment in the middle of trying to do all this. And I don't have the time for it, but I make the time for it. And then other things get pushed back or whatever. And so I need to learn to say no more. So it's funny that you bring that up. The other thing that I'm getting better at and trying to work on is communicating that either A, I need help, or B, bear with me. I have a lot going on right now. Give me some grace. Give me some understanding here. And that, I think, that in itself has been more beneficial than anything.
Yeah.
Like, hey, bear with me right now. I got to buckle down. I got to get through this shit. Because when I reached out to you and mentioned, like, hey, look, I'm feeling it, that was more like I'm becoming aware of it. I know I got a lot on my plate, and if I keep this up, something's gonna drop. I'm trying to balance all of this. Something's gonna end up falling.
I'm smiling because what are the first words out of my mouth when you say that? Almost every time, and you have to say, no.
What can I help with?
I'm just chuckling.
No, and I absolutely, and I could take help. But we've already talked about that, and we both have our own jobs in this, and we both do our thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to push that work off on you. It's my fault. I have to let my things drop. This takes priority.
Right.
And that's where it's time to reevaluate everything, figure out what my priorities are. Obviously, my kids come first. My full-time job that pays the bills, that comes next. The podcast, whatever else after that. What can I get done? How can I make this work? You asked how you can help. A lot of the stuff that I have right now is just stuff that I got to get done, and I put too much at the same time, all at once, on myself. And where I see myself preventing myself from burning out with this is I know that there's an end in sight. I know what needs to be done for me to bail myself out of this. That's where it is a sinking ship if I keep this up.
Yep.
And if I try to just do this and pretend like everything's fine.
Yeah, like as the chefs would say, you're in the weeds.
Yeah. And if I keep to myself and I don't let somebody know, I'm just going to keep, oh yeah, I can take on more. Oh yeah, don't worry, I'll get it done, whatever. And then everybody's going to be waiting on me. So just communicate. Like, hey, bear with me. I'm trying to get this done. I got a couple more things to do. I got some shit to figure out, some shit to take care of. So what did I do last night? I pulled an all-nighter. I worked till 6 o'clock this morning, getting my son's wall done. I got a lot of my shower done. I got the studio primed and prepped for paint. And I got some more trim finished up in my gym. I got groceries bought. I got meal prep for the next 2 weeks done all last night. And sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. You have to just put in the work, regardless of whether you want to, as long as you know that there's an end in sight and you're not just going to kill yourself over it. Because if you do this too much, if I want to spend every single night trying to just nail it all down, get it all out of the way, I could, but I will end up killing myself.
Right.
But I know 1 or 2 days of busting my ass, I can get a lot of this shit done. And I just need to get out of my own way and say, hey, I can't do this today. I have to get this done. Hey, I can't see you today. I have to get this done. Hey, I can't go out tonight. I have to get this done.
That's a hard one to learn. For some people. It was a hard lesson for, well, certain ways. It took me a while to figure it out for like going out and in partying and stuff like that. And how detrimental that kind of thing was to getting to where I needed to be.
Hey, you sacrifice your social life.
Yeah, at some point you have to. Took me a while to figure that out.
Yeah, you have to decide what's more important.
Right.
If you have friends that are worth keeping around, your friends are going to understand.
Yeah, and even that might not necessarily be the crowd you want to hang around with.
Right.
You might find new friends that you do want to associate with, but it wasn't an easy lesson for me to learn that things need to be put first. I need to focus on certain things and not get distracted with other crap. It's still a lesson I learned. I can find myself down a rabbit hole of YouTube videos if I let myself when I'm doing research or looking stuff up or trying to learn something. Get distracted. Oh, now I'm listening to music and not even paying attention to the how-to video I was originally watching.
It's easy to unconsciously put yourself in autopilot.
Yeah.
And once you do that, you have to be, if you don't become aware of it, you wasted an entire night.
Yes.
Now the rest of the night's gone. What did you do?
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
Not a damn thing because you got stuck scrolling, doom scrolling on your phone.
Or just any number of other things.
Yeah.
We've talked about it in the time management episode where it gets nickel and dimed away with all this piddly bullshit. Oh, I have to log into my bank account and check that, or oh, I need to check the tracking number on this shipment. Like all this stupid crap that you can make a list of and probably knock out in 5 minutes later. Focus right now and do what you need to.
And it's funny you say that because I disguise it and justify it as multitasking.
Yup. Yeah.
Say, I'm just going to do this, and while I'm doing that or waiting on this, I'm just going to quick get this done before I forget that I wanted to do that. And then before I know it, I am
doom scrolling.
6 other things that I shouldn't have been checking the weather. Now I'm checking my bank account.
Yeah, because I finished the one task I thought I was doing because I was multitasking. I checked my bank account. Now I'm on to Facebook because I finished that and I forgot about the other thing I was doing. Yeah,
I forgot the other thing I was multitasking to get both
exactly.
done. You can't multitask. Nobody can multitask. I don't care
that's
how
funny.
You can be aware and see things in your peripherals, but you can't multitask.
Yep.
Your brain only works in one little way.
Yep.
What was the quote that I heard? I think it was on the Modern Wisdom, Chris Williamson podcast. He says, and I think he re-quoted it, but it's, You have a supercomputer inside of your head, and it only operates on 1 megabyte of RAM.
That's pretty good. That's an interesting quote.
Because that's exactly what it is. You only have so much processing power
Yeah.
that you can use at a time, but you have all this shit in your head. It's what you choose to focus on.
Yep.
But you can't focus on more than one thing. Not well. If you've enjoyed the episode so far, please be sure to tune in next week where we finish our conversation on avoiding burnout. As always, thanks for listening.